Hi, this is Gary with MacMost Now. You can then go ahead and dial up. Now, when you go ahead and double click to run it, but you may want to go ahead and create an alias to it, you can still go ahead and record in QuickTime Pro or Photo Booth and then go ahead and bring that video. Now I'm going to go ahead and use a. So I can also go ahead and with it selected, I can go ahead and change that. So let's go ahead here into settings. Let's go ahead and choose wallpaper. You can go ahead and choose a text message. You can also go ahead and make your own. So you can go ahead and click and hold down. You can also go ahead and choose to have sounds. So go ahead and play around with your iPhone. I can also go ahead and we can go ahead and use it. Like with cutaways, I can go ahead and choose. You can go ahead and go through the entire list, because since this isn't the sanctioned way to go ahead and create websites inside of MobileMe, if you're going to go ahead and use the web space this way, I'll go ahead and execute it on my keyboard. We're going to go ahead and just put some text here. We're not even going to go ahead and worry about HTML at this point. And then we're going to save, and we're going to go ahead and put this in the iDisk folder front, but I'm actually going to go ahead and drag it over, which is what you saw. Now we can go ahead and replace that with some proper HTML pages, and you can go ahead and continue to build a website. But if I went ahead and added one here, it would appear there, and then I could see it for that one. And then I can go ahead and add one to there to go ahead and get a close-up look at it. I can go ahead and add another one, and there I can go ahead and view all of the songs on my Mac Pro. In addition to that, I can also go ahead and break things down by category, looking just at movies, TV shows, audiobooks, things like that. I can even go ahead and look at the playlists to be able to go ahead and do the same thing. You could go ahead and share files between two Macs to go ahead and share it in iTunes there. For vacation, I can go ahead and add a shortcut of V. We can go ahead and create one. Click the X at any time to go ahead and return to viewing all of your photos. For kids, I can go ahead and add a shortcut for K. You simply want to go ahead and create a keyword, landscape. You can also go ahead and use checkmark to temporarily label something. For the checkmark, I could even go ahead and add a shortcut for that. All you need to do is go ahead and do a search for all of those. You can then go ahead and do a search by checkmark to really think about each command before you go ahead and record your script, because doing the second will actually go ahead and follow your cursor movements. Then I'm going to go ahead and click the PDF button. It automatically goes ahead and we'll switch back to Safari. Then it will go ahead and then it's going to go ahead and type PDFs in there. Then you go ahead, select PDF and hit the Save button. Then I'm going to go ahead and save it as a plugin. That allows you to go ahead and create scripts. You can go ahead and create this script. You can also go ahead and record some actions, and you can also go ahead and delete an entire video. You can also go ahead and record vertically and go ahead and take a still from QuickTime. And you can also go ahead and open up, then she's got to go ahead and authorize her Mac. Go ahead. Now to go ahead and create your own, you go ahead and press the go ahead. Then go ahead. I can go ahead. Actually, to go ahead. It allows you to go ahead and you can go ahead and do lots of things with it. I can go ahead. You can go ahead. I can also go ahead. It will go ahead and take an icon. I can go ahead and change. When you go ahead. Now it's gone ahead and added. Go ahead. So I'll go ahead and hit. Now it's going to go ahead and I can go ahead. But I was still able to go ahead. So I can go ahead. So you can go ahead. I can go ahead and change things. Go ahead and I can go ahead. I can go ahead and create. So I go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and you can go ahead it's going to go ahead. You can also go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go ahead. When I go ahead, you can go ahead and which allows you to go ahead. You can go ahead, but you can go ahead and look to go ahead and that we're going to go ahead and use to actually go ahead. So you can go ahead. Now the next thing you want to go ahead and look at, you can go ahead. You go ahead and you want to go ahead. If you want to go ahead and you can go ahead and then go ahead. This goes ahead and you can go ahead. Simply go ahead. You can go ahead. You can then go ahead and then you can go ahead and you can go ahead. I can go ahead and remove. Then you can go ahead and you can go ahead and you can go ahead. You can also go ahead and you can go ahead. You can also go ahead. You can go ahead and find these people and go ahead and subscribe to them. You can go ahead. You can go ahead and go ahead. You can actually go ahead. You can go ahead and follow them. I'm going to go ahead. I can actually go ahead. As I go ahead. Then go ahead and do a Google search. Go ahead. Then go ahead. So here I've gone ahead and created. I can go ahead. So I can go ahead and drag and I'm going to go ahead. You can go ahead and select that. I can go ahead. You can go ahead and look at their blogs. Then go ahead and open up. Go ahead. You can go ahead and rearrange. You can go ahead and it will go ahead if you want to go ahead and you can go ahead. So I'm going to go ahead and I can go ahead and you can go ahead. I can also go ahead and I can go ahead here. I'm going to go ahead and I can go ahead and paste. I can go ahead, you go ahead, I can go ahead and go ahead, I will go ahead. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to go ahead and go ahead, let me go ahead and I can go ahead, it's going to go ahead. Now it's going to go ahead, I'm going to go ahead, I can go ahead and change, I can go ahead, so I can go ahead and basically leave that there. I can also go ahead and create. You can go ahead and know that. So now I've gone ahead, I can go ahead, I can go ahead, I can go ahead, I'll go ahead, I can go ahead, and it goes ahead and then goes ahead and update. Now go ahead, I can go ahead. That's the first way to go ahead, but now I can go ahead and go to edit. I can also go ahead, you can go ahead and press done. So I'm going to go ahead, if I go ahead, and I'm going to also go ahead. Let's go ahead. This might allow me to go ahead. Also go ahead. And then once you're in there, you can go ahead, you know what, go ahead. You will be able to go ahead. Now you can also go ahead. Till next time, this is Gary Rosenzweig with MacMost Now.